Hello everyone, welcome to BISP Solutions. I'm working here as Oracle Fusion Functional Consultant. So in today's session, we will see the mandatory setups that we are required to be done in the project portfolio management module. So first, we will take a overview the topics that we have finished till date. In the day one topic, we have seen how to create the implementation user and what are the roles. Sorry, there was some issue in the network. So, in the day one topic, we have completed how to create the implementation user. Then we have seen what are the roles that you have to give to the user so that he can access the privileges and he can make the necessary configuration related to project portfolio management module. Then I told you that project management module is the module that works on the business unit level. So we have seen how to create the business unit and how to assign the functions to the business unit and how to give the data access of that business unit to the user. Then in the day two topic, we have discussed how to create the organization hierarchy. So in the project portfolio management, we have seen how to classify the organization into two ways. First is project task owning organization and the next is project expenditure organization. So we have seen the setup related to that organization hierarchy. Then in the day three, we have seen how to create the organization tree and then how to assign that organization tree in the project accounting business function. Then we have discussed how to create the periods in the project portfolio management module, whether we have to use the same periods that we are using in GL or we are creating the different calendar for the project purpose. Then in the day four, we have seen how to create the templates. For creating the project, we need templates. So first we will create the templates and then we have seen how to create the project and what are the data access a user required for creating the project. Then in the day five, we have seen how to create the revenue category, how to create expenditure category, and then how to create the unit of measure. Then while creating the expenditure type class, which is a very mandatory setup in the project portfolio management, we have to assign all these three setups in the expenditure type class. Then in the day six, we have seen how to create the project class category, service type, work type, project status, project roles, and resource classes. Now, in the day 7 session, we will discuss how to create the project plan type, financial plan type, rate schedules, labor costing rules, labor costing multiplier, and organization costing rules. So let's start with project plan type. Create project plan type to define default information used for creating a project plan and capturing progress. While creating a project plan type, you can associate one or more sets, specify plan, task, currency, rate settings, and progress setting, and select budget generation option. Associate one project plan type to a project template. Projects created using the template inherit setup and planning option values. You can revise setup or planning options at each level to match specific planning requirements. So when you create project template, at that time you have to select project plan type and it is very mandatory. Without selecting the project plan type, system will not allow to proceed further. So in the application, I will show you where to assign this project plan type and then we will see how to create the project plan type in the application. So let's move to our application. Go to setup and maintenance. In the setup area, you have to select it as project financial management. Now here, go to project foundation functional area. Now click on manage project template. You can see here, associate one project plan type to a project template. Projects created using the template inherit setup and planning option values. So when you create template, within that template, you create the task. Before creating your task structure, you have to first select your project plan type. In the project plan type, you do the planning regarding the plan, and there you have to select the reference data set. Then you have to do the task setting. What are the currency in which you need your project plan type? What are the rate settings for these currencies? On what basis you will track the progress of your project? You will decide here how you will select budget generation option. These are all the setup that you have to decide within project plan type. Where to assign this project plan type while the creation of project template. So this is the project template. Click on create template. Take the organization here. So this is the header information, and with the header information we had created the template. Now scroll it little down. You can see the basic information tab here. Click on it. Now here you have to give the project plan type, and you can create the structure for your task. You can see the field here, that is project plan type. When I will click on this edit icon, it will not allow me to proceed further because I haven't selected any project plan type yet. Click on this edit icon. You can see here, you can't navigate to the project plan before associating a project plan type with the project or template. So where I have to assign the project plan type, this is the same page. You have to scroll it little down. So you can see here you have to select the project plan type. Click on add icon. Now the project plan type that you are able to see here are the project plan type, which are the predefined project plan types provided by the Oracle. Say I have selected this project plan type and click on save and close. Now scroll up and again click on this edit icon. Now it will allow me to proceed further because I have already selected the project plan type. So whatever the configuration that you have did in the standard project plan type, which are provided by the Oracle, will be applicable to this template now. So this was the page where you have to assign the project plan type. Now we will create our own project plan type and we will see what are the configurations or what are the settings that we have to do there. Now go to setup and maintenance. So project plan type, do the settings or planning for your task structure. The planning that we will do with the project plan type will be done on the task level. You can use the standard project plan type provided by the Oracle, or you can create your own project plan type as per your business requirement. So we will see how to create the project plan type. In the setup area, select it as project financial management. For creating the project plan type, you have to select the functional area as project control. All the work related to the planning and budget will be done through this functional area. You can see the mandatory setups here, that is project plan type, and next is financial plan type. So click on manage project plan type. So these are the standard project plan types provided by the Oracle. Now for creating your own project plan type, you have to create on this create icon. Give the name here of your project plan type. So giving the start date is mandatory. So select your date of start. Now in the setup options, you have to select whether you want to bring the project plan type from any other source. Then if you are integrating it from any other source, then you have to click on this checkbox. For example, if you're planning to bring the project plan type, that means date scheduling or cost scheduling, from any other software. For example, you are integrating it from MS Office project, then you have to enable this checkbox. Enable planning in multiple currency. So right now I am not using any third party software for scheduling, so I'm not enabling this checkbox. Now, if you want to do the planning in the multiple transaction currency, then you have to enable this checkbox. In the set assignment, you have to assign at least one reference data set. Click on this create icon and select the reference data set. Then click on plan settings. Now here, if you enable this checkbox, that is enable cost for project plan, then system will allow you to do the planning for cost in the task. Say, if you want to do planning for any task and you want to plan only 10,000 rupees for task 1, then if you enable this checkbox, then only you will be able to do the planning for that task. If you disable this checkbox, then you won't be able to do any planning for the cost at your task structure level. So I'm enabling it right now. If you will disable it, system will only allow you to do the date scheduling for your task. Now, if you want to set unplanned assignment as planned assignment, you can enable this checkbox. Then associate project cost to summary task assignment. In the calendar type, see if you are using different calendar for your project purpose, then you can select the project accounting calendar. But if you are using the same calendar as you are using in your general ledger purpose, you can select the accounting calendar. So in my case, I am using the same calendar as I am using in general ledger. So I'm selecting it as accounting calendar. Now for the currency purpose, it is asking for rate derivation date time. So from which date you want to use the rates for currency. So I'm taking it as start date of project plan line. And by default, because we have selected here as accounting calendar, it is taking it as accounting period. Now go to task settings. Now in the task settings, you can enable this checkbox. It says use task plan days as task assignment days. So plan days will be automatically assigned to your task assignment dates. Now automatically roll up task plan dates. It means you will give the days to your lower level task and it will automatically rolls up to the your top level task. Synchronize task transaction date with plan dates. Now here, whatever the plan dates that you have mentioned while creating your template, say while creating the template, we have to give the start date of your task and the finish date of your task. So it will automatically sync it with your transaction date. You can enable this checkbox now. It is asking for date adjustment buffer in days. If you want to give buffer days for your making any adjustment, you can mention it here. Say if you are taking it as one, then after whatever the finish dates you have mentioned in your template, it will take one more extra day for making adjustments. So in that one day, you can make all the adjustments if required. Right now, I'm selecting it as 0. Click on currency setting tab. In the currency setting tab, you have to mention all the currency in which you are expecting to do the planning. You have to click on this edit icon and here you have to mention the currency. So let's move forward with these three currencies. Click on OK. Now, what are the rate type? If you are using the same rate type for all the currencies, then you can select only one rate type. If you want to use the different rate conversions for every currency, then you have to disable this checkbox and you can see here it is asking for different rates. But right now I'm using the same rate type for the conversion purpose. Select the rate type here. I'm taking it as corporate. Select the date type. I'm taking it as start date of project plan line. Now go to rate settings. Now here you will maintain the resource rates. If you are using any resource in your project, then how you will be able to maintain the rates. So this is the page where you have to maintain the rates for the resources you are using in the project. Click on this create icon and you have to mention the business unit here. Now how system will read which business unit is linked to your project plan type and which business unit should use which rates. Then for that we have a different task, that is organization costing rule. There you have to associate the business unit and you have to associate the rate rules. We will see in today's session only. So here you have to mention the business unit and here you have to use the use planning rates. Say if you are maintaining the rates, different rates for different resources, then you have to enable this checkbox. Now you can see the fields here. If you have maintained different rates for person, job, burden, schedule, non-labor resource, resource class, you can give the detail here. And if you are using the same rate for all the resources, then you can select it from here. But right now we didn't discuss the rate schedule yet, so I'm not doing any changes here. We will come back to this page when we will done with the rate schedule. Now I'm moving forward to the progress setting tab. Now on what basis you want to track the progress of your project? So physical person complete calculation method, whether you want to enter it manually, whether you want to do it on the cost basis or on the effort basis. Say I'm selecting it as on the cost basis. Now you have planned to invest 2 lakhs rupees in the project and you have completed the cost of 1 lakh rupees. It means you have completed the 50% of the project. So in this basis, you can track the progress of the project on the basis of cost. Estimate to complete method. Whether you do it on the basis of manual entry or on the basis of remaining plan. Say I'm taking it as remaining plan. So you do the estimate to complete planning on the basis of the remaining plan. That means the amount that you have already planned minus the amount that you have already invested. So whatever will be the remaining balance, you have to do the planning on the basis of remaining amount. So whether you want to allow negative estimate to complete calculation, if there is any negative amount, that means if your investment amount, actual investment amount is more than your planning amount, whether you want to consider it in your calculation, then I will enable it. Then update plan quantity with EAC quantity. EAC quantity means estimate at completion. Estimate at completion means total plan, whereas ETC means the remaining plan. So whether you want to update the plan quantity with EAC quantity, then you can enable this checkbox. Whether you want to generate the forecast version automatically, you can enable this checkbox. For right now, I'm not enabling it. Primary physical person complete basis. Now here I have selected as cost. So even in the primary physical person complete basis, I am selecting it as cost. Now I'm moving forward to the budget generation option tab. Generate budget version when setting baseline for project plan. So when we will create financial plan type, we can select it here to generate budget version when setting baseline for project plan. When we will actually create budgets in the application, we will see what are the budget versions and what are the baselines. So right now I'm leaving this tab. In the additional information, this is like descriptive flex field. You can track the asset on the basis of additional information. So we have already filled the required information. Now I will click on save and close. So in this way, we can create the project plan type. Click on wait, click on done. Go to project foundation again. Click on manage project template. Click on edit icon. Go to basic information. So I've assigned the project plan type that we have created now. Now click on this edit icon where you can create the task structure for this project. So now I've assigned the one that I have created, and on the basis of the planning that we have did in that task, this project will work. So in this way, you can create the project plan type and you can assign it when you are creating the template and you are creating the task structures. Click on done. Now we will move to our PPT and we will discuss our next task, that is financial plan type. So what is financial plan type? Financial plan type will be used to create the budgets in the project. So you have to keep in mind that we use project plan type for creating the planning, and we use financial plan type in the application to create the budget. So let's take an overview of the definition of financial plan type in the project portfolio management. Create financial plan type to define default information and planning option for creating different types of budget or forecast. While creating a financial plan type, you can associate one or more reference data set, specify plan, currency, rate, budgetary control settings, select generation, export, and reporting options. So some are the options which are similar to your project plan type. So you can create n number of financial plan type based on your company requirement. Let's move to our application to see how to create the financial plan type. So while creating the financial plan type, you can decide that how you want to create your budget. Go to setup and maintenance. Select project financial management here. Select project control as functional area, and now here select the task as manage financial plan types. Click on this arrow. Now you can see you can create two different types of financial plan type. One is for non-sponsored project and the next one is for financial plan type for sponsored project. So what is the sponsored project? Projects that are sponsored by government are the sponsored project. That means we are getting the funds from government to apply for our project. So this is the sponsored project and this sponsored project is handled by grant management module, and non-sponsored project are the project which are handled by project portfolio management. Now we will select non-sponsored project whenever you are working on the project which is sponsored by the government or which is funded by any other source. You have to create the financial plan type for sponsored project. Right now I am selecting it as for non-sponsored project. That means our organization is only sponsoring the project. No third party is sponsoring this project. So for that purpose, we have to go with financial plan type for non-sponsored project. Here you will decide on which basis you want your period, like for project accounting purpose or accounting calendar as per GL, whether you want to create the budget at project level or task level, whether you want to allow the multi-currency while creating the budget. Give the name of your financial plan type here. In the plan class, now you can select budget, financial project plan, forecast. So right now I am taking it as budget. Select the start date here. In the planning amounts, what are the amounts that you want to take for your plannings? Whether it should be cost only. You will use cost only when you are doing the project for your internal organization purpose. You will select revenue only when your project is for billing purpose. There you are generating the customer invoices, then you are generating the revenue from it. Then you will select the revenue only here. Whether you want cost and revenue in separate plan versions, you want cost and revenue in the same plan version. So right now I'm taking it as cost only. Say I am creating this financial plan type for my indirect project. That means for the project we are doing for internal purpose. Now in the budget options, whether I want to use it as designate as approved cost budget. So I will enable this checkbox. If you are using any of the workflow for status changes, you can enable this checkbox. Whether you want to use it as default financial plan type. So whenever there are requirement to select your financial plan type, this financial plan type will be selected by default because you have enabled this checkbox. Enable planning in multiple transaction currencies. Enable this checkbox. Enable budgetary controls for this plan type. I'm not enabling it, but in the next financial plan type, I will enable it and will show you what are the changes in this financial plan type and in the financial plan type with the budgetary controls. So go to set assignments here. Click on add. Go to plan settings. So what should be the amount types on the basis of which you want to create your budget? Cost quantity, raw cost, burden cost, raw cost rate, burden cost rate. So While creating the budgets, I only want to consider the amount type as raw cost and burden cost. Now here you can decide at what level you want to plan or create budget for your project. So I'm taking it as project and all tasks. In the calendar type, it is same as project plan type. I'm using the same calendar that I'm using in GL, so I'm taking it as accounting calendar. Now, what should be the cost rate derivation date type? So I'm taking it as from date of budget line. And this option is taking by system automatically because we have selected accounting calendar here. Go to currency settings. Give the currency name here in which you are expecting to create your budgets. Click on OK. So if you are using the same rate, then you can only mention the rate type here as we discussed in the project plan type. Now move to next tab, that is rate setting again. This setup is based on rate schedules. Whatever the resources that you are using in your project, for them you have to mention the rate planning here. Go to generation option. Now budget creation method. Whether you want to create budget lines manually, generate from another source, define source at creation. Say I am taking it as generate from another source. So what can be another source? It can be financial plan type or and also it can be project plan type. Say I'm taking it as project plan type. It will ask for source plan type. Then it will ask for source plan version, whether it is baseline or working. Retain manually edit budget lines. If you have added any lines manually, then for keeping it, you have to enable this checkbox. If you want to override some rates from source, then you have to enable this checkbox. So if you are integrating your budget from any other source, then you have to select it here as generate from another source. So when you are creating the planning for your task structure, you can also convert that into your budget. And how you can convert your planning into the budget? Here you have to select generate from another source and here you have to select the project plan type. Right now I'm taking it as manually create budget lines. Now go to reporting options. How you want to see the amounts in your report, whether you want to see the raw cost or burden cost. So I'm taking it as burden cost. How you want to see the commas in the amount, you can select it here. And what should be the currency? Project currency or project ledger currency. So I'm taking it as project ledger currency. You can also export the budget to Excel. So these are the selected measures. If you want to add any additional measure, you can select as per your business requirement. You can see here. Now these are the selected measures. If you want to remove it, just select it here and click on this remove arrow. Now scroll it down. You can see here some are the selected measures are faded out. These are the selected measures that you can't remove. Again, this is the additional information tab. This is same as project plan type. Click on save and close. So we have created the cost budget. Now we will create the budget with budgetary control. So I am creating this financial plan type for budgetary control, and we will see what are the changes into this financial plan type, what are the additional tabs. I'm taking it for budget. Planning amounts, I'm keeping it for cost only. Yes, I want to designate it as approved cost budget. I don't want to use it for workflow purpose. Now, I'm not enabling this checkbox because I already enabled one financial plan type to be used as default financial plan type. Enable this checkbox for planning in multiple transaction currencies. Enable budgetary controls. Now, if I'm disabling it, you can see here there's an option rate setting and generation options. Now I'm enabling it, and you can see here one more tab has been added, that is budgetary control settings. So this is the additional field or tab that you have to fill the information. So these are the same settings that we have done in the last financial project plan type. Click on OK, then select the rate type here. Again, rate settings based on rate schedules. Now come to budgetary control settings. So on what basis you want to do the budgetary control settings at the project level? So what should be the control level? So we have three different control levels here. First is absolute. So what will happen when you will select the control level as absolute? It will give, it will not let you go beyond your budget amount. Say you have created the budget amount for your project as 1 lakh rupees. So if you will enter the amount as 1 lakh 10,000 rupees, then system will not allow you to proceed further. When you will select it as advisory, it will give you error message, but it will let you pass the transaction. Say you have decided the budget amount as 1 lakh and you are spending 1 lakh 10,000, then what will happen? System will give you the error message, but system will allow you to proceed further. Now, if you are selecting it as track, then it is only for reporting purpose. You can track your progress on the basis of this. It is only for reporting purpose, only for tracking purpose, like what is my budget and what is my actual amount. You can only track. And the default rate type that you are using here is corporate. If you want to give the tolerance percentage, say I have decided the budget for 1 lakh rupees, but I can tolerate the difference of 10%. It means if there will be a fluctuation of 10,000 rupees, then system will allow you to go ahead with it. So in this way, you can manage the control for your budgetary control settings. Now come to generation options. Again, now here you can decide from where you want to generate the budget. Say I'm taking it as financial plan type, and we can select the plan type that we have created right now. Now you can see here source plan versions. When we will create the actual budgets in our application, then you will see how to create these current baseline, original baseline, current working versions of the budget and what are these. But right now I'm giving you the overview of it. So original baseline, it is the original approved budget. Current baseline, which is the latest approved budget. And the current working, this is not the approved version. So I'm taking it as current baseline. Let's enable this checkbox. Now go to reporting options. This is same as previous one, so I'm not making any changes. Again, export options are also same. Additional information tab is also same. Now click on save and close. Now we will see how to create the financial plan type for forecast purpose. Forecast means creating the budget for remaining plan. Say we have created the budget for 1 lakh and we have already created spent 30,000 from it. So how to forecast, how to plan for budget for the remaining amount, that is 70,000. With the forecast financial plan type, we will do that. Now in the plan class, you have to select it as forecast. Enable this checkbox, then enable in the multiple transaction currencies. Now come to set assignments. So plan settings are same, like the accounting calendar here. Then go to currency settings. Give the name of the currencies here. Come to rate settings, then come to generation option. Now it will ask you on what basis want to do the forecast planning, cost performance index, remaining plan to complete manual entry. So I'm taking it as remaining plan. Whether you want to carry forward unused amount from last period. So I'm enabling this checkbox. Yes, I want to use the unused amounts. So whatever the amount that you have actually spent in your project, till which period you want to consider it, current period, prior period, or last close period. So I'm taking it as current period. So what should be the estimate to complete generation source? I'm taking it as financial plan type. So I want this allow negative ETC calculation for open commitments also. If I am adding any manually forecast line, then it should keep it. Go to reporting options. This is also same. Now click on save and close. Click on done. So in this way, we can create the different financial plan types. Now we will move forward to our next task, that is rate schedule. So move to our PPT to take a overview of it. Specify project rates and schedules for your planning, costing, and billing requirements in Oracle Fusion Project Costing. You can specify schedule types such as job, person, non-labor, resource class for your rate schedules in Oracle Fusion Project Costing. So whatever the resources that are you are using in your project, you can maintain the rate record in the rate schedule. Now we will go to our application and we will see how to create the rate schedule. Go to project foundation here, scroll it down. You can see the task that is manage rate schedules. Click on add. Give the name here, PPM employee rate schedule. Give the reference data set here. Now I have taken it as employee. That means I am creating this rate for specific employee. So in the schedule type, you have to select it as person. Then here you have to select the currency. So I'm managing this rate for this Casey Brown. Job name, job code, and expenditure organization. These are not mandatory setup, but you have to mention the rate here. I'm taking it as 60 per hour. Now again click on create icon and I am creating the rate for job. Give the reference data set here. So I am creating the rate schedule for this consultant job, and I'm taking the hour rate as 40. So in this way, you can create the cost rate schedules. When you will use the resources in your project, it will pick the rates from here. Now we will discuss what is the labor costing rule. Oracle Fusion Projects uses cost rates to calculate the raw cost for expenditure items. The application determines a cost rate for each expenditure item and calculates the raw cost during cost distribution processing unless you import the raw cost for expenditure items. In the labor costing rules, you have to decide that on which basis you have to apply the rates to person, job, non-resource, and resource class. Now, extension or based on your salary. Click on this Manage Labor Costing Rules. Now, for creating your labor costing rule, you have to click on this add icon. Create your labor costing rule here. Now it is asking for rates or extension. So I'm taking it as rates. Now here you have to give the labor cost multiplier. So where to create these labor cost multipliers? Go to setup and maintenance. So why we use the labor cost multipliers in case you are using the labor for overtime purpose. So definitely you will pay him extra. So how system will read that this user will be required to pay extra and what should be the multipliers? So you have to give those multipliers in the labor costing multiplier task. We will create one labor costing multiplier for overtime purpose. Click on all task here. Now here you can create the labor costing multipliers. Say I pay 50% of the basic salary for the labor who works overtime. So I will take it as 1.5. Give the date here and now click on save and close. Now go back to your labor costing rules. Select the expenditure type here. This is the PPM overtime. And in the labor cost multiplier, we can select it as PPM overtime MP, which we have created now. So in this way, you can create the labor cost multiplier, labor costing rules. Now, where to assign these labor costing rules and the rate schedules? How system will know that what are the rates to be picked for which business unit? So just create it. Now we will go to manage organization costing rules. Here the rate schedule that we have created and the labor costing rule that we have created will be associated to our business unit. Then only system will be able to pick the rates from these tasks for our business unit. Say our business unit is US1 business unit. If you want to maintain the rates, different rates for as per your expenditure organization, you can select the organizations here. But I want to maintain the single rate or same rate for all the organizations, so I'm leaving it blank. But the organization that we have created while creating the hierarchy, you can select it here if you want to maintain the different rates for different expenditure organizations. Now, in the schedule type, you have to select it as whether it is labor or non-labor. So we have created rate schedule for labor and also we have created the labor costing rule. So this is our labor costing rule. In this way, we have associated our labor costing rule to our business unit. So this is our business unit and this is our labor costing rule. Now here you have to mention the rate schedule. Click on OK. Then click on Add. I want to this business unit is already created. So let's search for it. So you can see here the rule is already created for this business unit. So just because it is already created, it is not accepting. So if you want to associate your this labor costing rule and cost rate schedule to your business unit, then you have to come to this task that is manage organization costing rule. Here you have to give the rate schedule and labor costing rule. I have to associate both of them to your business units. So when you will create the transaction for resources, it will pick the rates from this task. So today we have discussed how to create the project plan type, financial plan type, rate schedules, labor costing rules, labor costing multiplier, and organization costing rules. So much for watching today's session. If in case you have any query, please reach out to us. Thank you and have a good day.